Shoutcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 142 of Battlefield Podcast. I'm your host, Ola, aka Chalk1, and with me, as always, if I push the right button, not the right button, there's Tim. Hey Tim, how's it going?
Good, Ola. We'll get it down at some point. Maybe.
Maybe. I gotta, I thought I was smart, and I built myself a little control pad thing with colored labels and stuff, but I never read what I wrote on them, so...
Oh, well.
What's the worst that can happen? I picked the wrong button and... not a big deal. So it's only been a week since we did our last podcast, but we figured we'd come back and talk a little bit about Aftermath.
Yes.
Now that it's out on the PC.
Oh, yes.
Which is going to be good. We brought along a guest for this episode. We've got Joseph, a.k.a. Whitey. And that's the wrong... There we go. I still have Roland on one of the lower thirds. That's good. How's it going?
Another day in paradise. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So why don't we, before we start talking about Aftermath and news and stuff, why don't we tell a little bit about yourself to our viewers that may not have heard of you before or seen you on Twitch. That's probably where I came across you, was on Twitch and on Twitter, of course. So maybe give us a brief introduction.
Oh, Whitey, play BF3. Been streaming on Twitch since about the 4th of July. I do have the green screen. I try to put on more of a show for people, not the average, fantastic gamer skills. I'm, average player, been playing console for 20 plus years. Just barely recently coming out to the PC, and I'm loving the transition. So that's who I am. That's what I'm about.
Nice.
Well, welcome to the PC, because it's always nice to have, fellow PC gamers, because I see more and more we run into console players, and it seems like we're more of the dinosaurs.
It's okay. It's easy to buy a console for $300-$400, go home to your house, pop in the disc, and you're playing in 30 minutes, man. And PC, all the compatibility issues, the drivers, what version of the game you bought, where your stream key came from. I miss my console sometimes.
It is sometimes a bit of a simpler world, isn't it? Just playing around with the consoles. I just recently grabbed BF3 for my Xbox and my PS3, so I've been trying to play a little bit on everything. And it's not only a whole different game, but just the way to manage how to get into a game, how to find servers, how to administer servers. It's quite different. So there's advantages on both, I think. Do you prefer one or the other?
I prefer being able to hide behind my username on PS3. I like the transparency of the PC, though, because if I have a problem with a player, I can go and find him somewhere and get on his team, find him, get on his TeamSpeak and talk to him like, hey, what the hell? What's going on, man? So I do like the transparency, but sometimes when I don't want to be followed, I love to bust on my PS3 and just play the game for fun. That's what I miss on the PC, playing for fun.
Yeah, it's true. I think there's been a lot of conversations in the past about the privacy settings on the PC side, especially in Battlelog, and you can't really ever just play anonymously or invisibly, so it's a little bit difficult for some people. It all depends. Should we go through some of these news items? Tim, you want to tell us about the server patch that included some updates to the Gunmaster mode?
Sure.
Should I play the news stinger? Let's do that.
Yeah,
and then
let's go ahead and do that.
And now for the latest Battlefield news.
Go ahead.
All right, so if I can actually pull up the actual patch notes. So the new server update lets. I think the biggest thing that we've been looking forward to with one of the patch update is the update to the Gunmaster weapon progression. We've been stuck in this constant progression where it goes from pistol and then you end with a knife. But it seems now that DICE has listened to the outcry and they have added 5 new weapon lists to Gunmaster mode. There's a little excerpt from Battlelog They say, we've seen a lot of interesting discussion in the community on which order you want the weapons to appear in Gunmaster mode. Now we are giving server admins the choice to decide between 6 different presets, which bring a twist to this popular game mode in close quarters and aftermath. The available weapon progressions are normal, which is default, normal reversed, lightweight, heavy gear, and pistols only, snipers heaven, U.S. arms race, RU arms race, and EU arms race. So it's nice to see that they've made this change because it was very frustrating. What do you guys think?
Well, it's interesting. I think what they've tried to do obviously was give us some more options for Gunmaster, so that it's not always the same order of things. But
right.
Normal reversed is weird. So that's just the same weapons in reverse order. So you start with a knife.
Start with a knife.
With a pistol.
Whichever pistol you start off with, is it the 1911 or something like that?
It's a 443 in normal.
There we go. Sure.
Yeah. So it's a little, it's good. I haven't actually had a chance to try any of them out, the other options.
And that is a server-side setting, right? Like, we're not going to just be able to go in there and vote for, EU arms race. We have to actually, change it on the server side. You have to know a server admin to get access to those game modes.
Correct. You'd probably have to look for, hopefully, if you're looking for just a Gunmaster server, then you could potentially have it in the title, we're running, such and such configuration. But it seems like, yes, you're correct. You'd have to know someone to get them to change it. There's no voting.
No, I actually want to see if on the PC on Battlelog if it's in the server browser, because on the consoles it's in one of the options. It's actually fairly nice when you're looking through servers. You can sort of see
it's
all
actual
the settings
server
on one
filter.
screen. Yeah, well, it's not in the filter, but it's in the server properties.
Oh, it gives you like a breakdown of what's.
Yeah, map rotation, ticket count, minimum players required, all that stuff, which is
cool.
Kind of nice. I'm just going to filter for Gunmaster server and see what shows up. I'm sure it's not going to work now. But
well, with other updates to Battlefield 3, we had the December Soldier upgrade drop for premium members, which was cool to see when we all turned on Battlelog a couple days ago. We have the new weapon camos, which are instantly available. We don't have to do anything for them. They just have given them to us. We don't have to work for them. That includes the M416 Airman camo, the ACWR Tactical camo, the M240B Desert Stripe camo, the JNG90 Burkett camo, and the PP19 Digital Woodland camo. We also have some new assignments and dog tags as well, which look really cool. I think my favorite one is Rambo, which is get 20 kills in one round, get 10 kills without dying, 5 multi-kills, which then gives you this neat Rambo dog tag.
Yeah, these are really nice looking dog tags, actually. They're kind of cool.
They're getting very creative. Last set was really neat, but they just keep stepping it up one. It'll be nice to see what happens in, when's our next one? Is it January? We get our next drop?
Yes. That would be the next month after December.
Yep. We get another one in January, so that'd be cool.
And it's going to be interesting. I wish they would have included a couple more soldier camos. I find weapon camos totally useless. I don't even ever notice whether there are any or use them.
I forget to change them. I
Right.
I don't even think about it.
I barely ever pay attention to the soldier camo, but at least sometimes I feel like there's a point to it, to changing.
Right.
Weapon camo is purely cosmetic. So.
Yeah, weapon camos. I mean, come on now. I would rather have 10 more, soldier camos and soldier customizations than any gun. I'd rather just play black, or the golden AK-47. But it's just worthless, man. I mean, I don't understand the gun camos.
I imagine it's easier for them to create those, so they can just kind of churn those out and throw them at us every once in a while and be like, here you go, have a couple more weapon camos for you premium members.
Yeah.
But does that make you happy that you bought premium,
No, honestly, I could care less about those. I mean, I bought premium for the DLCs, not for the... I mean, the assignment's okay, fine. I don't mind assignment hunting every once in a while because it gives me a bit of a purpose, something to go after, but... soldier camos would be nice. Weapon camos, whatever. I can take them or leave them.
Right.
Doesn't matter to me.
Summer.
True.
Well, some of the other things we're looking forward to in December, which is one of the things that's going on right now is Double XP. It started today, and it'll be going on until the 10th. So we have 2 days of Double XP awesomeness. We're also looking forward to the strategy guide made by Prima Games. We've already seen those for the other DLC drops. This one's a little late. I mean, they always kind of drop a little late. They don't. I would love to see them drop as soon as the actual DLC drops. But this one's not coming out until the 21st of December, and Aftermath has already been out since the 3rd for PS3 users.
Can I ask an honest question about those?
Yeah.
Does anyone read them?
I looked at the pretty pictures.
Okay.
I think what Tim is saying is if they were available on the day it dropped, we might read them. And that's a fundamental problem. By the time they drop, I've already played the game. I know my strategies. Why do I need to read their opinions? You know, like timing, I think, is what Tim's comment was about and your question was about.
It's the same idea when they do those premium video drops about the DLC. When you've already played it, for a couple weeks, it's like, why are you showing this to us now once we've already seen it? I would love to see it maybe the day before the DLC drops, or maybe like right after. But as you said, it's all about timing, and I feel like their timing's a little off when it comes to those kind of drops.
Yeah, it's a little strange too, because Prima usually comes out with these on launch. Like you can go on a launch day, GameStop or whatever, and pick up any brand new game, especially the big titles, and the strategy guides are right there. Sometimes they're even bundled in, with a limited edition or whatever. So, a little too late. Is that all, or are we getting anything else this month?
That's actually it for the month of December. As for January and February, it's a little scarce. There's some double XP events, no premium bonus content. February there's a bonus content drop, and then March we have Endgame.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
That's it. It seems like we're coming up to the tail end of premium. So it seems. We have no idea what they have in the works for us, but as of right now, that's what it seems like.
It could be more. So we talked a little bit about Aftermath. Did we talk about Aftermath at all on the last podcast?
Not really. We touched on it. We touched on it a little bit with Roland, but not in detail.
This is true. So now it's been out on the PC for what?
Almost a week.
Almost
Tuesday.
a week?
Tuesday would be a week. So.
Tuesday will be a week. So, I've put my Aftermath thoughts based on the PS3 on YouTube already before. They haven't really changed for the PC. I quite like this DLC. I think it's one of the best ones they've done, actually. I think it's probably the best one they've done. You agree?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I love scavenger mode. Like all the players that have their bread and butter guns, the M16 with the Cobra, the AUG, or any of those kind of try-hard kits that people call them. They don't get those. Everybody starts out with their favorite pistol, which is level playing field for all intents and purposes. And it's based on what you find. So you can go to that level 3 weapon, but it's probably going to be an LMG. It levels the playing field a little bit more, and it gives more of a chance if you weren't playing like the day it dropped. So I rather enjoy scavenger mode on Aftermath.
What about you, Tim?
I have to agree. I think scavenger mode is one of some of the best gameplay experience that I've had so far with Battlefield. I kind of got hooked with Gunmaster for a little bit, and then it just started getting old. But it seems like every single time I spawn, it's always something different. It's never the same thing twice, which is enjoyable for me. It keeps me wanting to do more in the match, in the round. As just a generic conquest gameplay, in Aftermath, it's awesome. There's just so many different ways that you can go to capture a flag, and so many different flanking routes. I don't even think I can use enough words to express how much I really enjoy this DLC. This is their best one yet, and if they keep going in this direction, I'm gonna be really excited for Endgame.
Yeah, I think so. I think they really did, and I mentioned this. I think we talked about this on the Battlefield Zero Tolerance podcast. Is really when we talked Aftermath for the first time, or I did, because you hadn't played it yet at that time. We did that just last Sunday. Right. But they've done a really good job with the maps, regardless of the game mode. I've played it in Scavenger, Conquest, and in Rush, and the maps themselves, while they're not super huge, they're just that right size with enough different routes to get from one flag to the other. There isn't any bottlenecks where you constantly have the action. I'm thinking Operation Metro as an extreme example. But it's really fluid. You can really move around, and it's the experience that I remember from the original maps, the vanilla maps. Some of my favorites, like Caspian Border, where you can just move, and it's just more of a free-flowing game, not just a spawn, go there, get killed, and repeat, right?
Right. So. And I think what they also hit on the money as well was they didn't conform this to just the PC players. And what I mean by that is the large map experience like we saw in Armored Kill, where the best way to enjoy the map was you had to play it in 64-man server. But I honestly think that you can play an Aftermath map with 32-man and you'll be fine. It's enjoyable. Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. And even at 24, it's a little slower pace, but it's still very enjoyable. So I feel like they kind of took pieces of vanilla and they took pieces of close quarters, and then they took kind of the vehicle aspect of Armored Kill and kind of mixed it all together and made this really beautiful piece of art that they called Aftermath. It was really well done. I enjoy it.
The orange art? Is that what you're talking about, the orangeness?
Yes. There's a lot of orange. You're right. It's funny how in Armored Kill we saw a lot of blue, and in this one there's a lot of dark oranges and browns and yellows. It definitely gives you that kind of desert combat feel.
A little bit Karkan reminiscent?
Yes. The original Karkan from Battlefield 2, which we saw a lot of oranges and dark colors. The Battlefield 3 Karkan is very light, but this definitely brings back a lot of old BF2 memories.
It does. There's a bunch of the maps that remind me, even just on the loading screen when you have the image of the map, it reminds me of Gulf of Oman. But the good size one, I don't know. The BF3 version I'm not as big of a fan of, but in BF2 it was one of the more popular maps. And they really play around well with elevation, I thought, on these maps, on several of them, where you have not just 2 levels, but 3 or 4 levels of elevation that you can play around with. It makes for a completely different game,
and it's not just
so many options.
It's always something different as you progress in the levels. Say like the monolith. As you progress to each level, it's different. It's not just copy and paste. There's different things that you have to watch out for as you go up higher in the building. They finally fixed the sound. I feel like in close quarters we had this problem where you couldn't really differentiate between the level that you're on, the level above you, and the level below you. And this one, I think there's a little bit more depth where you can actually figure out what's going on around you, which is nice.
Yes, it is. And scavenger mode is interesting because, like you mentioned, first of all, it's nice because you can still choose what pistol to start with, so you have a little bit of influence, because obviously we all have probably more favorite pistols. You got different choices. You want to go with power and less ammo and less bullets in a clip, like you want to go for the Magnum, or do you want to go for like the 93R or the Glock or whatever? You get like a semi-automatic. So you have some influence over it at least, and you can also always choose whether you want to pick up one of those weapon spawns that's somewhere.
Right.
Do you really want to pick up that level 3 LMG? I don't know. Personally, my playstyle doesn't fit that on those maps. It's usually fast. I'd rather pick up a PP2000 or something even.
That being said, what is your go-to pistol? Does it depend on the map? You're a hard fan of the 1911. What are your guys' weapons? What do you start out with to get that little bit of control on scavenger mode?
Mine's a 93R. I kind of messed around with the Magnum for a little bit. I tried the Rex. It seems like a lot of people were running around with the Rex for a little bit. Tried that. but every single time, I even tried a M19 level tactical with the flashlight attachment. I feel like every single time I go back to the 93R, just because it's got the 3-round burst, and I can control at a very high rate of fire. If I just smash my fire button, I can get it to almost act as a fully automatic pistol, but I still have the controllability of the 3-round burst, or even a single fire. I feel like it's a great pistol.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I switch back and forth. I had a discussion earlier with Phoenix about weapons in general, and favorite guns and whatnot. And I keep going through these phases. I used to run with a 93R almost all the time, for the very same reason that you just described, Tim. Lately, I've been using the Rex just because I've been wanting to play with it more. And that seems to work pretty well for me on PC. On the console, anything where I have to be good at aiming is a no. It's just not even an issue. It's just not going to happen. I'll need something with more bullets, and rocket launchers are good. Splash damage is what I need on the console.
More spam, more bullets. Yeah.
Exactly. It
the only thing that
I keep changing.
I think completely changed the subject because we started talking about bullets, which made me think about this. The only complaint that I have is I have no idea where the ammo crates are on the maps. I feel like I'm constantly looking for ammo crates, and I wish that there was some way to figure out on the map where the ammo crates were situated. If there was maybe something like a little box that was semi-highlighted on the map when you pulled up your mini map, or maybe that was their whole idea, is to just randomly spawn these throughout the map and say, here, go find them.
Are they random though? I thought they are
No.
in set places.
Are they static?
Yeah.
I've only found 2, so to me, I feel like I can never find it, so I don't know.
I think Battlefield will put up a post with the locations of them, so I think they are always in the same place, right?
Yeah, I think BFO Grizzle did a couple of YouTube videos about the exact locations of all of them, and it seemed like they put 4 ammo crates on every map. So if you haven't found 4 on every map, you're not going to all the map, and you seem like you're concentrating, near B like everybody else does.
There are some points that I find on Azadi Palace, especially, that I constantly travel back and forth because I feel very comfortable because there's enough cover. The place I'm talking about is when you come up, I think it's A stairs, or B stairs, and you come up and then you make a left and you have that long hallway and the stairs behind you. I feel like I kind of hang out there.
Yeah, there's definitely a few places for them, and I don't know. I really haven't had much opportunity to reload. I usually, when I start running out of ammo, I just eventually find a different gun that's laying around. I know a lot of people will end up getting the one gun that they really like. I don't know. They'll find an AUG or an MTAR 21, something like that, something that you could stick around with, and that might be worth seeking out an ammo crate to reload that one. But I don't know. For the most part, I end up just grabbing that gun and then shooting some people, and I'll probably die anyway, so I'll go back to the pistol.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like to do. If I find a bread and butter gun, if I find an AUG with a good scope on it, I will run for the ammo crate first. Before I even engage in it, I'm like, oh, I got to find an ammo crate, because when you go to the ammo crate, you don't get 1 or 2 clips. You get a full loadout, so you're good.
Yeah.
And, eventually, like you said, Oli, I just die, so I go through more than 2 clips, and then I die, and, oh well, okay, start again.
Well, and the nice thing is the weapon spawns are all in the same spot. When they first said that, I was like, oh, well, so now everyone's going to know where the weapons spawn, but at least the gun that spawns there is always random, so you know where to get a gun, you just don't know which one it is, and of course you don't know if someone has just picked it up.
I'm glad they did that. I'm glad that it was always a different level weapon every time.
Well, something had to be random about it, right? Do you know what the levels actually mean? Like, they have actual real meaning, level 1, 2, 3?
Kind of. For me, it's been a level 1 weapon will be a PDW or some type of close range, unaltered weapon. So you get a PP2000. You get a PP19, you get, any small, quick rate of fire gun with no attachments. And a level 2 will be either assault rifle or a PDW with 1 attachment. And a level 3 have all the attachments, but you get assault rifles and LMGs.
I found a lot of level 2s to be shotguns.
Shotguns
when
as
I
well.
play. Usually, whenever I find a level 2, it's always been a shotgun. If it's a jackhammer, a spas, an M1040. I don't think I've really run into any like mid-level semi-automatic or fully automatic weapons. It's always maybe I just have horrible luck and it's always a shotgun. But you're right with the level 3 as well. It's usually the fully customized weapon that I think one of the ones that I enjoy a lot is the M2 the M240, the saw. That one's a good one. That the way that they customize it was really well done. It's got the extended mag with a front handle and then a red dot scope.
There's a few weapon setups that don't really seem to make a lot of sense,
like
or that aren't really fitting.
The 50 cal sniper rifle, the M80B, with the laser dot
with the laser
and no
sight?
scope.
Yeah.
It was like, what is this? This is weird.
But I mean, I guess everyone's different, right? So it might be just the weapon for some people. Do you guys have a favorite map out of the 4?
Yes, let me go look up the map name.
In which playstyle?
But whatever playstyle you want to consider the question to have been asked in.
All right.
I mean, we play mostly Conquest, Tim, right? So
right.
That's
Well,
probably
so for Conquest, I like Monolith. Monolith is fun for me. And then when it comes to Scavenger, I like Azadi Palace or ZD Palace or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. You don't like the tanks on the second floor of the palace in Conquest that tend to.
That is a horrible experience. It's funny when I'm the tank, but
yes.
when I'm the guy who's kind of walking down the hallway and this T-90 is coming up the stairs of this destructed palace, which makes no sense at all, and he's just chugging along, and I'm looking down his barrel like, well, this is gonna suck.
Oh, put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye, because you know you're gonna die.
Exactly. It's just never gonna end well. Epicenter's I think Epicenter in any play style is fun, just because I get the shockwaves, this after this post earthquake shakes that we get are really cool.
I'm surprised
I don't think
they only included it on the one map.
I really thought they were gonna put more. I thought was really hoping that all of them were gonna have some type of aftershock, but it's just that one. And Tallow Market, I really haven't played enough to really say that I like it. It just seems it hasn't been in the rotation that I've played in the servers. I'm not sure why. When I did play it, it's a really pretty map. I feel like they did a really good job with it. So
Chat room says that they are on all the maps, but I don't believe that's the case. I think the Aftershock is only on Epicenter. Right?
Yeah, I've only seen it on Epicenter.
Yeah, I've only ever had them happen there. So I don't know. So what do you guys think about the Aftershock anyways? You know, is it too strong? Is it as strong as you had anticipated? For my 2 cents, it's not as game affecting as I had thought it was going to be. There's not as much stuff falling over or falling apart. I mean, if you're aiming down the sights of your gun right as it's happening, it's probably going to screw you up a little. But if you're just running around to the next flag or whatever, it's not. You know, it's kind of like, ooh, Aftershock, and then it goes away and you just move on.
The way when one of the selling points they made it seem like for Aftermath was that the earthquakes were going to dynamically change the map in a certain way that you would have to change your gameplay style. And I was really hoping to see some type of dynamic change in the map that would make you think a different way while on the fly. That really intrigued me, and I don't know if they didn't have enough time to continue developing that setup, or they just got axed or what. But I was really looking forward to that, and it's kind of disappointing that it's not there. What about you, Whitey?
So you wanted to be more effective. What kind of things do you want? Like rubble falling from the buildings?
Yes, I wanted to see walls falling over. I wanted to see dynamic changes in possible in some of the buildings, like maybe the roof comes falling down in certain areas and it closes off a hallway, so you have to go down another direction.
I like that.
When I read that, when we were looking at some of the news pre-release for Aftermath, I could have sworn that I read dynamic changes in the maps, and that's what I was looking forward to. Things that altered the gameplay to a way that you had to adjust. And I like that idea of adaptability to gameplay. And it seemed like it was with the earthquakes and the aftershocks, it was going to be an adapting to a map at an extreme rate, where it wasn't just compensating for someone making a right-hand turn instead of a left-hand turn. It was, well, that building's not there anymore, so I have to go a different direction. And that's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, well, we saw some things in the trailer where even just like a statue was falling over.
Yeah, that's actually in Tallow Market, and you can make it happen. Right. You have to blow it up. It just doesn't fall over because of an earthquake.
You put C4 on and then blow it up?
Yeah, and it was like the same way with the doors in Epicenter, where like the little red canisters are sitting by the door, and to open it, you blow it up. Which I had no idea until someone said it in the chat when we were streaming one night. They're like, shoot the red canister. I was like, wow, that makes so much more sense now that I know that's there. But when I was like, I know I can get past the door because you could see other people behind it, but I couldn't figure out how. I wish there was like this beeping arrow that was like, shoot me, or something.
Some type of red barrel or something right next to the door to be like, shoot me, I blow up.
It's like this little red propane tank that, I was like, oh, of course, the red propane tank will blow up. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, overall, I think it's a really good DLC. I think we're going to spend more hours on those maps and game modes than certainly in Armored Kill. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of that, but spent a fair amount of time in close quarters. And I probably still will at some point, because close quarters is still good if you just want some rapid, crazy action.
Yes.
And just go nuts for 20 minutes and score 28,000 points or whatever. You can still do that there.
Armor Killed is definitely for those gung-ho vehicle lovers. If you really enjoy armored warfare, then that's for you. And I love tank battles. That is one thing that I really enjoy. But I still find myself sometimes frustrated just because the scale of the armored warfare. It's not just maybe like 2-on-1. It's sometimes like 4-on-1. And you're like, oh, I can't handle it sometimes because there's no way to really defend yourself, especially if you're just playing by yourself. But it's really to each his own. What I've really enjoyed about all of the DLCs is that they kind of are they're created to certain play styles. This one, Close Quarters, is for people who just like things like TDM, just infantry warfare. Armored Kill was meant for people who really enjoy armored warfare, but this is a nice smorgasbord, if you will, of both play styles. I feel it's got it both, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have to agree, because Armored Kill was by far, like, as a tank destroyer, I fucking love knocking things out of the sky free-handed with the tanks. I love it, and that expansion pack is perfect. Every map you can knock, 7 little birds out of the sky in one round, maybe pick up a jet, and, a couple attack choppers.
Have you shot an XC-130 down yet?
Of course. I've shot 3 of them down now that I have recorded. I've shot 5 down lifetime. But,
nice.
It really, the way you guys are talking, it's like, we have all these different facets of Battlefield and different players and play styles they're kind of stubborn. And this DLC seems to pull together more crossroads of more people.
Oh, yes.
You have all the different aspects of the air, the ground, which is kind of neutralized with the amount of rubble on the ground. And infantry have, tons of alleyways. They're not limited to the metro choke point. They have everything. Different elevations to climb through, hop in a little bird, hop on a quick transport vehicle, and it's fun for a lot of people. This DLC is.
I was actually going to bring that up, the fact that you have armor on some of the maps as well. I mean, you get a tank or 2. You get 2 new vehicles. And you have some air. You get little birds in the Z11. But have you played much in either the new vehicles or the armor. I love flying around with the little bird. I love the little bird on all maps as it is, but I think on those maps it's specifically it's a lot of fun to fly. It's challenging to fly it because you obviously have a lot of buildings around, and don't fly into the mall when you have 4 beers and try to go through that hole that looks like it's big enough and it's not. Just saying, future reference. But I find that armor is not as overpowered on there because of all the little alleyways that you can have for infantry. It's really difficult for a tank all by itself to survive. You really have to have infantry around to protect it, I find. And not only is the driving difficult because there's debris all over the place, but there's so many angles that you can be attacked from. It balances it out pretty nicely, I thought.
Yeah, I think there's no player that is going to do smashing on Aftermath unless you're just, one of those badass Rambo guys that is going to jump into, a light armored vehicle and then into a tank and then blow up an RPG or blow up a little bird with an RPG, or snipe somebody out and then jump into it. Like, those are the guys that are going to do awesome. But everybody else that's just a tanker, that's just an infantryman, you're going to have your fun, and it's going to bring a lot of people together, this DLC is.
When I think of this and trying to compare it to something, I think of the movie Black Hawk Down. These tight alleyways, convoys trying to go back and forth with people, looking over rooftops and things like that. As someone who enjoys driving a tank, it's really frustrating to end up at certain choke points or these alleyways that have no way to get out because it's too small for you to move. So you really have to keep your head on a swivel. You have to constantly look around and make sure you're checking your corners. I like it because it keeps me on my toes. It's the same way for infantry. You have to look out for the armor. But I think what's kind of cool is that the environment has a little bit of its own surprises for vehicles because of these large craters that it's created or the cracks in the ground. If you fall in the wrong way, well, you just have to bail out of your vehicle. You've lost it. So you really have to pay attention. That's what I really like about this is that it's not just plain generic from point A to point B, PTFOing, bang bang, kill the guy, go to the next objective. Yeah, you're always having to look out and think and change because it's constantly changing on you.
Yeah, it is. It's very true. And there's actually some talk in the chat about the destruction and maybe that there's not enough. I hear a lot of call for Bad Company 2 type of destruction, and people were really hoping for this. I mean, it's simple things, like the one Demolition Man brought it up in the chat that I think is on Epicenter. There's a big container crate that's suspended basically on a rope, and
that'd be cool.
You're just itching to be able to shoot that rope and have that container fall down. It's not, maybe it wouldn't do anything. It'd be cool if you could make it fall while someone's standing below it.
That would be
tank destroyer,
Yeah. It's just something that it almost feels wrong because Battlefield and the Frostbite engine in particular, you're so used to just being able to destroy things, blowing holes into walls. I mean, any time I play a game where you can't do that, I'm disappointed. It's like it's something missing that you grow accustomed to. That just because that sniper is sitting behind a little wall and you're in a tank, you should be able to blow a hole into it, right? So when you see something like that, it's like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Do you remember in BF2 days where you'd take a tank and you'd hit a tree? And you would get stuck. And then we heard of this thing called Frostbite. And we had heard someone from DICE who came and kind of sold us Frostbite. And they talked about, well, you could blow a tree over and it would block a tank. Or you could make a chimney fall over and turn it into a bridge. You're like, oh, my God. You have dynamic environment. You can actually mold things to your own liking. And how cool was that we could run over a tree and not get stopped? Like that's the thing what's really cool about Battlefield now.
What I loved is when Bad Company came out, I was playing it on the Xbox, right, and you got achievements there, and there were achievements like mowing down 100 trees or something you get an achievement for. It's literally just to show off the power of the engine, and I'd sit there in a tank and just go logging. Just run stuff over. And I think in Bad Company 2, a lot of people miss some of the destruction where you could more easily level an entire building. You can sort of do it in BF3. There are some buildings that if you take out enough of the walls, it will come down, right? But it's not as, I don't know, it's not quite the same.
No, I have to agree.
Yeah, I think you
There's a
guys
lot of Easter
are
eggs, right?
you know, interpreting the BF3 mantra. If you don't like where the sniper is hiding, blow it up.
Yeah.
Right.
He won't hide there anymore. I swear to God.
Exactly. You get so used to being able to do that that when you can't do it, it's frustrating. And it's just like, come on, I know that the tech's out there. It just makes sense. So
It's kind of like when you play Caspian Border and you start out with all these trees, and if you play on a server where there's enough tickets, by the end there's no trees. It's just this valley. There's nothing there. It's just grass and charred earth. It is the coolest thing to see.
it really is, and that's probably one of my favorite Battlefield 3 moments. Like if I were to have to describe that to somebody, is that you start that map, especially on a 64-player server, with maybe a little higher than normal ticket count.
1,000 tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the map ends up completely different when you're finished.
Yeah.
It was an interesting experience. I was in a streamer's room, Philly Rampage's stream, and he's in the tank, and he's on that 64-man server, 1,000 ticket Caspian Border, and near the end, you know, he's stomping the other team into the ground by a couple hundred tickets, and he literally like stops, and he's like, "Whoa! Have you guys ever seen this map when it's naked like this? No way, dude! Look at this!" And then inevitably, after like 30 seconds of gawking at the sheer, you know, appearance of the map, he gets C4, and he's like, "Dude, did you see that? There was nothing. Like I could shoot everything. I could see from here to there. It was so cool." And that's when I was like, wow, like when a player stops and is so amazed at his environment, you've done something good. And I have to applaud the BF3 guys for being able to provide us with at least that little moment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a couple of Easter eggs on these new maps, which are kind of cool. I understand there's something from Dead Space 2 that I don't think I've seen yet. There's what's the chick's name in Mirror's Edge? The character.
I don't remember
Her name, but
it's been a while.
her
since I
red
played that.
running shoes or sitting on top of the one
Her
of the
toe
buildings.
shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, where are yours?
They actually left them at Amy's parents' house. They're mailing them back to me.
Okay.
Mine are in
miss them.
Kansas with Dorothy, so don't worry about mine.
I love my toe running shoes. They're the closest thing you can get to being barefoot and still protect your feet. They're awesome. Anyways.
It's fun though. It's funny when they include little Easter eggs like that themselves. I mean, they've always done that. They've had crates or whatever that said BF2143 on them. You know, little things like that. Of course, we have the whole dinosaur theme going on, and there's a little dinosaur inside one of the pipes that you can crawl through, which you also get an achievement for or a trophy for on the console. So little cutesy little things.
Have they found a dinosaur skeleton yet? Like we saw in Armored Kill?
Yes.
Where is that at?
There is one on it's. Oh, sorry, no, I haven't. No, never mind. I was just going to say we found the one on Armored Kill on a stream the other day, and I think it was. Sorry, I don't remember, but there were a few people in the chat that were helping us find it.
Okay, yeah, that's the one where it's a T-Rex skull and it's sitting on top of a mountain. But I was wondering if there was like some rubble that had been knocked away and there was a T-Rex skull just hanging out.
That would be so cool. After an epicenter earthquake.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
I wonder what they're going to do, if they're going to do something more like that in Endgame, maybe. They have this dinosaur theme throughout the whole thing, right? I mean,
there's some rumors running around that there's going to be another DLC in the summertime that's going to be some more dinosaur stuff. But, you know, you got to love rumors.
Yeah. It would be interesting. Who knows? Who knows what DICE is cooking up there? You never know. All right. Any other thoughts on Aftermath? Before I want to talk a little bit about live streaming in general, because we have an expert with us, and also about Level BF. So any final thoughts on Aftermath from you two?
I think we could open up to the chat to see if they want us to talk about anything. A lot of good comments in the chat, and I would love to get their input before we move on.
Yeah, I think
something
that's a
else.
good idea.
Or I guess I can just go through the comments here and see if there's anything.
Oh, the expo. That's a good point, Crazy Cookie. See, we haven't really talked about that yet. Which is, of course,
You're right, we didn't.
The one new weapon.
The Expo, holy crap! I probably should have. We should have went through this with. I should have went through this before with you, Ole. We have had a few level events where we do crossbow only, and it is freaking amazingly fun. It's so cool to just bam and they're dead, and it's crossbow only, so nobody shoots and like keeps on attacking. They shoot and then they run and they hide, and it's a completely different style. But I don't know. I love the crossbow. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the crossbow itself is it's an interesting little gadget. I haven't actually unlocked any of the extra bolts yet, but I was using it yesterday. I was playing with a buddy of mine who just got his gaming PC built and just got BF3, so he was in a total noob to PC gaming in general, and the whole mouse and keyboard setup and everything. So we went into a small TDM server with just a couple of people so he could get the hang of it. And as he's getting more comfortable with it and stuff, I figured, this is a great opportunity for me to play around with the Expo because, like you said, it's not, it's fairly powerful, but of course if you miss, the reload time is lengthy, so you're kind of screwed. That's why you mentioned people shoot and then they stop attacking and run away and to get the reload done. So it's good to try it out on him. I've had fun with it. I don't think it's overpowered. I don't know if it's overused. I don't see it used that much. It's always funny when you get killed with it on a non-aftermath map, though.
Yeah, like Caspian Border. Big, what the hell? Oh, Expo. Just kidding.
Exactly.
Oh man, I do enjoy that though because it's so cool to let us go back and take the DLC content to vanilla again. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, it is. Have you played with like the HE bolt or the scanning bolt or any of those?
No, I haven't personally played with it, but I'm a big Twitch guy, as you had mentioned earlier. I've seen a lot of people play with the HE bolts. And one thing that Demolition Man brought up, I think it's kind of bullshit. If you have a self-contained explosive and you launch that explosive off of your person to someone else, if it hits that target, independent of velocity, bullet drop, and anything, those HE explosives should do something the same no matter where it is because it's on the bolt itself. What do you think?
Yep, right. It does seem like it's, and I've only heard this, like I said, I haven't used it myself, but I've heard from a lot of people that it's just not powerful enough. It's weaker than an M320 almost. It doesn't really pack enough of a punch. It's almost just like, you might as well just throw a grenade at the tank.
Oh, I mean, it's strong enough for personnel carriers to disable them, but that's about it. To a tank, you're better off throwing boulders at them than these the HE rounds. Just they really don't do anything against armor. Just throw rocks.
Yeah, and people were saying that might be a good thing to have. If you're a sniper, that might make a good third item on your kit with the HLE bolt because it gives you somewhat of a deterrent against armor, but it doesn't really sound like that's the thing. And I don't think you'd want it to be either, though. I don't think you want that to be a giant pack of C4 on a stick.
Yeah.
It might just be too overpowered then.
But I have seen the HE bolt take out little birds and Z11s before, and I think that's freaking awesome. I love that.
It does 100% damage to helicopters. You are right.
At what length of distance though? Like when does it become no longer effective?
I think as long as it makes contact to it, it's 100% damage. At least from the analysis that I've seen of other YouTubers do. They showed that as long as it hits the target and it explodes, it does 100% damage.
Okay, well that has not been my experience, and I think Demolition Man is on my side there. I think at a distance, I mean, I don't want to put distances and specifics, but around 50 meters or longer, the drop off is severe, and it doesn't. I've seen it not kill a Z11 or a little bird. So
it's actually hit it. I mean, it's weird that distance would deter the amount of damage done. I mean, it's the same explosive. What is distance going to change?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you'd obviously have to deal with drop off if you're going over longer distance, especially with an HE bolt. But
honestly, if you can do it that far, I feel like they should reward you for being able to hit it that far away.
Yeah, definitely accomplishment for, a 200-meter or further HE bolt to Little Bird, that'd be awesome. I'd love that.
Do you think we're going to see any tweaks made to it, or do you think this is the expo and that's
no.
what it is?
I feel like because it's something so new to the Battlefield realm, we've never seen this before, so I feel like there still needs to be tweaking done.
It's a little bit like the AC-130, huh?
Let's not talk about the 130.
No, I don't mean as far as how many tweaks they've had to make and how wrong it was to begin with, but it's like you said, it's something they haven't done before, so this is their best attempt at getting it right. And typically, as they do before, it will take them some time of collecting player stats and feedback to get it right. So they'll probably.
I feel like in their live test, they can only do so much. They can only produce so many instances for analysis and whatnot. But when you let it out in the wild, you're gonna have multiplied by a million. So to grab the data from that is a lot more effective, I think. And I feel like in the next set of the server patches and whatnot, we will see a change to the expo for sure.
Something.
Yeah, when do they not, fix something and break something else in the next patch? Are you serious? Come on now.
Yeah, probably the smoke grenade is going to kill people again or something like that.
That was a lot of fun, though. Not going to lie. That was a lot of fun to snipe people with the M320 on the AUG. I even did a little video for it. So
I can just imagine, though, that those matches that you talked about where you have expo only, that would be really fun to partake in. That must be not only fun to watch, but to be part of that would be pretty funny, I think.
Yeah, it was expo and knife only, so I mean, you could go after the guy, but he's reloading and you're, come on, kill him, come on, animation, come on. And then once in a while he's reloading, you'd get the frontal, bow, yes, but then you'd get expo in the back as soon as you went to the animation, so, bittersweet, I guess.
Yeah. All right, anything else from the chat about Armor Aftermath? Let's talk about the name for a second. Talk to somebody. I keep wanting to say Armor
Corey.
something.
You were talking to the president about it.
Yeah. He was like, there's 25 other letters in the alphabet. Couldn't they have started it with something else?
Yeah. Armored Kill and Aftermath.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Post-apocalypse.
It's silly, but it is what it is. I think it's a great
works.
DLC. Yeah. Talking about the reload on that. What do we want to see from Endgame? I don't know. Motorcycles.
Yeah, they definitely showed that off as the dirt bike, and they've definitely teased it more times than one. I really wish we would have seen the machete. I really wanted to see the machete in Aftermath because the guy's holding it, and it looks like he's gone through hell, and he's got this what looks to be a bloodied machete. And how cool would that have been in the Aftermath maps? You could use a machete instead of your knife.
Yeah.
And it'd be one hit, one kill.
Like the decapitation.
I didn't like anything, because in BC2 we had the one swipe was a kill, and now in BF3 we have the, worthless rubber knife, the broken animation.
Stab. Yep.
Wouldn't it be nice to
actually that would be cool.
A real knife, two-handed, bam.
Well, the chat just suggested that if you played Medal of Honor Warfighter and the tomahawk animation, they could almost just copy that.
Oh,
that
the tomahawk is so cool. Yeah, the game didn't work out right for them, but that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen was the tomahawk animation where you knock the guy's knee out, you hit him in the shoulder, you spin around and clonk him in the head. How cool is that?
Yeah. So they should do something like that with a machete. That would be pretty epic.
Yeah.
The three-step animation instead of locking you in and only doing it a certain way every single time. Because in Medal of Honor, they had a few different animations where you'd clock them on the clavicle first and spin them around, and the guy kind of looks at you like,
yeah,
you're like, boom, and you're dead. But you could die in any one of those three animations. Yeah. So I don't know. I really enjoyed that.
The camping sniper one was pretty cool. When you flip him over with your foot and hit him over the head. That was neat. But anyways, end game. New vehicles. I like getting new vehicles. I always think that's something really cool to see. Yeah, new weapons are neat, but I would really like to see something that we really haven't seen before. Yeah, we got tank destroyers and artillery in Armored Kill, but give us a vehicle that we have never seen in a Battlefield installment before. Something that will, and not just a dirt bike. Something that you can utilize. That could change the gameplay, something that'll just knock our pants off. That's the one thing I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, because those vehicles that we got now in Aftermath, they're not. I mean, they're not all that different.
An ice cream truck with a mounted machine gun and then grenade launcher on the Humvee, which is actually pretty cool. Have you seen the
grenade launcher's cool?
Have you seen the detail of the turret? It looks like they took like a drum, like a fire, like an oil drum. They cut it in half. And that kind of gives them like the armor shielding in the back, and there's like some 2x4s that have kind of been like drilled into it. It looks like this Frankenstein of a vehicle. It's really neat.
It really does look like it was just modified or customized by somebody. You know, when it wasn't built in a plant, it was just some guerrilla fighters that took what was laying around and built that out of it. So it's pretty cool, but
yeah,
it's not really all that. It's not all that unique, you know. I mean, if they had just put in Humvees and Vodniks or whatever, it would have been 90% the same effect, I think.
Agreed.
So maybe we'll get something more in Endgame. We don't really know any of that stuff yet, do we?
Demolition Man, I don't know what it is. I really can't say what I have in my head is something that we haven't seen before. I really don't know. I really would have to put some more thought into it because I really haven't thought about Endgame. The only thought I've put to it was Endgame's going to be really neat. It's going to be something we haven't seen before with the rate that they're going, with how well they've done with Aftermath. But I mean, I feel like as the more we play with Aftermath and the more we become accustomed to it, the more thought we'll put towards Endgame. And I feel like this is another topic that we should bring up again. Like what do we expect from Endgame? Because I feel like we could chat about it for hours.
Yeah, it's like a whole it's a whole podcast all on its own. Especially as we get closer, maybe when we get to start seeing some teaser trailers or whatever. You know, we know that they're working on those. So
yeah,
that'd be good. All right, should we talk a little bit about streaming stuff?
Yeah, sure. The almighty stream.
All right, let's play this clip thing first.
Battlefield Podcast. Spotlight of the Week.
So it's no surprise that we're streaming all this stuff here, and we have Whitey on, who also does a lot of streaming. So one of the streams of yours that I watched recently was you basically commentating a live tournament match, I think, from levelbf.com. Maybe tell us a little bit about what Level BF is. I know I've talked to one of the guys there before about him coming on the show and telling us a little bit about it. But since we got you here, and you obviously know a little bit about it because you're one of their main shoutcasters, maybe give us an overview and sort of tell us what you do for them in regards to what your streams are doing about them.
Okay, so what level is? I mean, it's just like any other community out there, you know. But I guess their bread and butter, their backbone, is the competitive 64-man servers. They want to take Battlefield and Conquest game mode to really the next level. You know, I had said something during my last cast last Saturday. I called it the most dangerous server in the world because they have, you know, big names like NixDK, Cake Ninja, Kravitz, Haxi, Flab Slab guys. They have literally the best players in the world on Saturday playing in their server, and it's so dangerous there. Like, I don't want to play there. It's not going to be any fun for me. I'm a mediocre PC player, bro. Come on. And what they're trying to do is elevate Battlefield, you know, a year after its release and get people to take this game a little bit more seriously, but yet to have fun in an organized manner. That being said, they get together every Saturday for 3 to 6 hours, and they put together an organized battle. So you come onto their TeamSpeak, and they have their TeamSpeak integrated with their level site. So, if you guys sign up at levelbf.com and you install the token they have on the website, when you go into their TeamSpeak, it'll say, oh, this is so-and-so. He's registered with the blue team, and now you have access to certain rooms, and you're excluded from other rooms, say like the blue team. So that's a little bit about them. What I do for them is I run their Twitch stuff. Everything that you guys see on their Level BF channel, I've had a part in making. I just bring more awareness to the community as a whole, because I think that if people come to Twitch and they see their favorite streamer, or they say, oh my god, it's Nyx DK, because you guys know that I'm a fanboy of Nyx. I mean, I'm a tanker. We talked earlier about the Armored Kill DLC, and I love this guy. He is a fantastic person, a great player, very humble, approachable, and I would stay there. But, as a Battlefield veteran and as a member of the community, I want to shed light to the bigger picture, because there are 7 guys streaming today. We got Sixel, Skittles, Crotambura, Kravitz, and, they all have a unique perspective to this one server. And it's not very often that you get to have 10 live feeds to 10 players that are all located in the most dangerous server in the world. Like, it's just...
That's pretty cool.
It's unique. And if the technology was a little bit further ahead, I guess, in the coming months, we're going to have so many more tools to make my cast, my overview, because I'm not actually playing in the server. I'm a hands-off, look at me, I'm a funny type of guy. Well, they're, oh my god, I gotta get this guy on B. I need to spawn in it, and they're just into it, and they're not producing their cast at that point. And in the future, we're gonna have many more tools to make that a much more enjoyable experience for the viewers at home, and for the people that are kind of like me, like, top 8 tank driver in the world, top 16 dogfighters, I don't. So, I want to say that I'm building more of a positive community on Twitch for Battlefield, and, for first-person shooters in general, because so often do we get into this, alpha male mentality where my goal is to shoot you in the face, and for me to belittle you. And I just...
And then have thousands of people watch me do that. Yeah.
Yeah, stomp him into the ground. Yeah, oh my god, he's... No, I just, be humble. You killed the guy. It's a game. So you got the drop on him. He'll come back, and he'll come back with an RPG and kill you. I like to see people have a lot more respect than we've been having for people on the internet in, the last year of Battlefield 3. So that being said, what do you guys think about what I do, and what's on Twitch?
Well, I think it's really cool. I think Twitch is one of those growing things that I've only been around Twitch for, I don't know, maybe the last 6 months or so, and you see a lot of really big channels that aren't in first-person shooters in general. I guess there's a lot of StarCraft, there's a lot of League of Legends stuff. Those games that have hundreds and hundreds of viewers on at a time. And it's an interesting, it's an interesting concept to me that people spend that much time watching others play. We've had discussions before about BF3 and how it relates to esports, or how it doesn't fit very well for esports, maybe. We've had some competitive players on before talk about how it's not all that well suited for it. The whole idea of streaming more of the stuff to Twitch is interesting, but now that Origin has it integrated, and it's basically anyone can set up their account and just start streaming, I think you may see even more of these streams that have maybe 2 people watching, and it's like you mentioned, the one guy who's like, I'm gonna kill everybody and it's gonna be awesome and you're gonna watch it. It's like, no one will, because it's not really entertainment. So I've seen some of the stuff that you've done, and what I found interesting about it is, like you said, you're hands off. You're not actually in the game playing. You're almost doing more like the, I made an analogy earlier of it being like the sports commentator guy in, You know, like when you turn the game on and you watch an NFL game or something, you've got the color guys talking and they got different camera angles and stuff like that. So it's almost like you're doing more of that stuff. And I think that provides added value to, you don't just see people playing good Battlefield, but you add that extra level on top of it that makes it interesting for people to actually want to watch. For me anyways, I'm not a big let's watch this guy do really well. I can do that later on YouTube. I can go pull up some of Dasgro's tank battles or whatever and, you know, consume those on demand. I don't think I'd sit there for 3 hours at a time on a Saturday afternoon. But unless there's that added value provided. So
yeah, it's something because I try to make it about the player as well, because I provide a lot of background detail information about who the players are and you know, and ultimately what they like, because I search their battle logs and I'm like, oh look, he's on his bread and butter gun. You see, he's got the M16 with the Cobra sight and, you know, the foregrip. This is what he does, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
Honestly, when Ola and I had talked about bringing you on, he said, you know, the guy with the green screen who does Twitch streams, and I had heard about you before, the guy who puts himself with, you know, Battlefield in the background, and I always thought that was really cool. So it's nice to put a face with the stories. I really should watch more of those. I started getting into more of the competitive gameplay with the ESL ladders. Trying to get Ola into that as well, so we might need to spend some time this weekend and play that.
You have seen me play before, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's worth a shot. I need somebody to play with. But I think what you're doing is great. To bring Battlefield into the esports area is great, because it feels like, you know, like Ola said, League of Legends, other RTS games like StarCraft 2, those things are all over the place when it comes to esports. But we don't see a lot of the FPS as much. Yeah, we see Halo, we'll see Call of Duty, but I want to see Battlefield, you know, kind of rise to the same level, because you're like you said, there's high caliber players out there. There's the gameplay's there, is just the actual attention isn't. So with people like you, people like Dasgro, other people who are willing to actually sit down and commentate live action, and actually bring a sense of entertainment to the action, and not just have this humdrum, dry, you know, let's just sit down and watch this, and actually make it entertaining, is great. And I wish we had more of it. I wish there was more people that were doing what you're doing. So definitely hats off to you.
And on the same token, I mean, you guys gave me praise for what I'm doing, but I mean, this podcast is right there up there. You know, you guys are bringing more awareness and more attention to Battlefield, and really having discussions, which doesn't normally happen with first-person shooters. It's a dictatorship with their opinions, and so I applaud you guys for having a positive community outreach like this as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we stream, you know, we stream these podcasts, but we also stream some gameplay, and it's funny because I almost fall into these two different categories. Sometimes we'll play on the PC, and we'll do a nice dual stream where we'll actually, quote unquote, put on the try-hard pants, and we'll actually try to play decent Battlefield, which is fun, and people enjoy that. But every once in a while we'll play something, and it ends up being a lot more entertaining without actually being focused on the score. I mean, yeah, you don't want it to be so bad that you get frustrated, but I've played a lot of rounds and streamed them on consoles where my score is awful or whatever, but it's still really entertaining. So there's also that.
For Twitch or any type of streaming site in general, I think this is great for someone like me who doesn't have the time to make a YouTube video, to sit down and grind in front of Adobe Premiere for hours to try to get the colors right, to try to get the transitions the way that you want it to look. If I can just throw an overlay I made in Photoshop over my screen and just hit the stream button, play for an hour and a half, and have people watch and have the almost not the same level of outreach, but to a certain extent I have people who are watching and I can communicate with and have the interaction, I think it's great. I feel like we're definitely going to, in the next few years, we're going to start to see a shift and past YouTube and do more of these live video streams, not so much the rendered out pre-made videos that you see on YouTube. So I think that all of us, we're all heading in that right direction. It's just we need more attention
and better mobile apps. I'll just throw that out there. The Twitch mobile app, especially on iOS, is just downright awful.
Yeah.
So.
You say downright awful. Is that quality or the application itself?
It just doesn't work most of the time. You'll open it up and it won't show you who's streaming that you're following. They just don't show up in the list. And then when you finally find them, you get in there and you can hear the audio. You don't see the video, or only the chat's working. And then you have to spin around in a circle and say some sort of voodoo curse on your phone to make it work. It just, it's the opposite of what you expect from an Apple app. You just expect it to just open up and there you go.
It's the same way for Android. The Android Twitch app is okay. It's enough to where, like, if I'm driving in the car, which I'm sure I will do, or I'm going home for Christmas break, I will probably pull up a Twitch stream and try to watch it. But
you should note that you're the passenger.
I am the passenger. I'm not driving.
Okay, good. Driving. Thank you.
I will probably watch the Twitch stream. If sometimes Ola streams while I'm driving just to keep me entertained. But there's no chat integration or anything like that. So I wish that there was more development with Twitch or Justin TV or any of the other streaming sites. It's just not there yet, and hopefully soon it'll be there.
Yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting. I mean, you see this more and more now. What is Black Ops 2 had integration to streaming to YouTube built in, sort of, kind of.
How's that working out? I heard it was broken.
Well, I think in general it only works for certain game modes, and you have to have at least 10 people watching before it even broadcasts or something like that. So it's not as simple as just switching on a button. I mean, in Origin it's pretty simple for streaming, but we don't use that. What do you use for your tech setup? Like, how do you have things set up? I know you got the green screen going, which is an interesting experience. We've tried in the past. It's not always the easiest thing to make work, right? Like, what's your setup like?
Oh, all right. Tour time, baby. So normally I have my mic and my camera on a separate desk that is independent of my workstation, because if you have a microphone boom. If you set a coffee cup down on your microphone stand, you can freaking hear it.
Yeah.
So that being said, I just got a third monitor, and I had to relocate my camera to on top of my monitor so I could quickly look at chat and monitor. Mm-hmm. So here we go. One PC setup. Let's give this tour around the room here. So we have the one monitor that I'm looking at here, cool. And this is the location of the camera. The third monitor down here, so that I can put chat and my XSplit settings and all the other stuff. And when I go back and forth shoutcasting, I go from this monitor full screen, unmute it, and then I will go to this screen, full screen, unmuted. So it's a seamless transition from this one to this one, and I don't have to play something in between what I'm doing.
Cool.
And to make the green screen work, I have these giant lights here. This one's not on. I'm using this little desk lamp for this. And I have this lamp, which is actually turned left.
Mm-hmm.
And
whoa, it's really bright.
That's normally what I'm working with while I'm casting.
Is that a DIY? Did you do it yourself, or did you actually buy that?
Nope, I bought this. This is a 1600 watt set. There's 800 watts a piece in each. Oh snap! My dog's chair. He's got a little pink door chair.
That's really cute.
It's my niece's chair. And actually, Ollie, if what's funny is when we do those two people podcasts, Warlord actually does the chroma key on his end. So in this setting, you can chroma key me and put me wherever you want and mess with me and doing whatever you want.
Nice. I think that's really nice to point out all those lights, because one of the biggest things, and actually my camera right now is a really good example because my white balance is all fucked up, but lighting is probably the biggest thing. Everybody, you can pick up a cheap webcam and it looks pretty good, but lighting is such a big deal, especially if you want to do chroma key, because if you don't have decent lighting, it's just not going to work. You're going to have fuzz around you, and half of your head's gonna disappear and stuff like that. So
gonna look orange, have a shiny spot on your forehead.
Yeah.
That it's. I
It is,
paid.
and you've got those giant
I paid
lights.
good money for
I mean,
this.
they don't come in small packages. They don't come with a webcam. Everyone sells you a webcam. It's like, it's great. It's 720p and stuff. And yeah, go ahead and hook that up in your semi-dark room. And that's why usually it's going to be more difficult in the winter now, Tim, because usually we try to do the podcast when I get some natural light from outside, because all I got is the ceiling light here. So.
Yeah, it's dark at 5:30 my time. Now it's
you have better light
with.
than me, though. Which is interesting. You know what it is? Because when we last did the War Z stream, we screwed around with I did anyways. Screwed around with my webcam settings, so a lot.
Yeah, another thing that you could do, I mean, people are saying that you look orange. It's simply because of the color light bulbs you bought and installed in your fan. Because you can go out and get a 65K light bulb, and it's closer to the spectrum of blue and natural light.
Yes.
And that's what's in these right here. So, Tim, I can tell that you have daylight light bulbs, and Oli has soft light bulbs for bathrooms and stuff. And they, you can tell if you put them side by side. You're orange, you're white. I gotcha.
Well, I also have another monitor set up here, so I'm actually getting the whitewash from web pages being open and coming from my 24-inch monitor, so it kind of helps with the light balance.
Yeah, you just have like 5 monitors in front of you with just a white background using them as giant light panels. That works, cheater.
I would love to have 5 monitors. Oh crap, I'd love it.
Just three for me. I like blue.
Blue.
So you have 3 monitors.
I do.
Why do you need so much real estate? You just like it?
Well, I really wanted to try the NVIDIA Surround, and then also for things like this, having chat, web page, Skype, Photoshop. If I'm doing stuff like that, if I'm watching, I honestly. I didn't have enough, so I needed to have another monitor. I felt like I had too much stuff going on, so having a third monitor was definitely a very nice addition to my setup. So. Yeah,
the third monitor, I love it. Right now, the third monitor is off because I enable the SLI while I'm playing Battlefield, and that
exactly that's why mine's off as well.
Yeah, because I don't know, I have dual 550s in my machine, and it barely runs in 60 frames per second solid. So I mean. I know. I hear you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, last time we talked about that Twitch integration in Origin and what that means for people who stream. And maybe if you want to share your opinion on it, like my original opinion was that it's so easy for somebody to say, oh, you just click this button and you start streaming, but nowhere do they really tell you that if you're streaming a game like BF3, you better have some horsepower in that machine, especially if you want to stream it at a decent resolution and a decent frame rate, and you still want to be able to play well, because there's a lot of there's so much going on that I've seen people who are like, oh, okay, I'll try that, and they push the button and it's like, oh my God, I'm getting 12 frames a second now. How am I supposed to play?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways to get streaming. So the big problem right now is the easiest thing for you to do is to buy an i7 or something equivalent, a 4-core with hyper-threading, and XSplit, and you're off to the races. You can probably stream. You can actually locally, physically accomplish that task in about a low 720p. But in order for you to get anything further than that, you need to have some serious money or some real know-how. Because I mean, even simple things like changing the way you source your video into XSplit can have an effect on your frames per second. So if you use DxTory and export it to XSplit and then stream it, you see an increase in 10 frames instantly.
Yep.
And it's just these stupid little nuances that people don't tell you. And I've kind of taken on a personal role to go to those streams that have 1 or 2 viewers, see what's wrong with their stream, and try to help them. And
That's cool.
Sometimes it's worked out, and sometimes they're just like, I don't want you to backseat cast. Who the hell are you? I don't give a shit. Banning you. Boop. And I'm like, whoa, hey, Hey, well, all right, fine. Cool. I don't ever have to go back to your stream. That's cool. Thank you.
In the long run, that just hurts them. That's a shame.
You know, community. If you don't want to be a part of the community, then I don't want to help you. You know, you make your choice the first time. And on the other token, I've gotten into there and I'm like, listen, dude, I'm sick and tired of like looking at your 4:3 resolution in a 16:9 box. And this was
you don't like that?
This was Press Start. I'll name him by name because he was one of the guys that was, oh god, I saw him on the search page, 0 viewers. Okay. Next week, 0 viewers. Next week, 1 viewer. And finally got tired of him, like, he's not stopping, so I might as well go in there and see what's up. And I greeted him, you know, like anybody else. I'm here to help you. I want to try. And he was like, I don't want to say resistant, but you can tell that every fucking person had said, your quality's messed up, and just bitched at him so much that he was kind of numb to people trying to help him now. And long story short, about 7 minutes flat, he was 16:9 in the most awesome stream quality that his computer and internet could handle. And he was like, thank you. Where were you, a week ago? I don't understand. And he sent me a PM later on with 500 Microsoft points. And I gave those away because I'm like, it was cool. He listened to me and he was thankful and, welcome to the community, Press Start. Nothing bad to say about you at all.
Yeah, I mean, it is more difficult than a lot of people think sometimes, and then I don't understand why people would turn down someone like you who's actually trying to help them out with some of, the advice from some of the lessons that you've learned over time. So,
right, but I mean, when you see a username in your channel, like, are you really supposed to know who a BFDM Whitey is? Like, am I big enough deal? Am I all over YouTube? Am I, partnered on Twitch? I'm just a regular Joe Schmo like you guys, trying to do something in the gaming world.
Yeah. This is so cute. Sorry, I have to mention this. Tim, it's funny. You're not even on the stream. You haven't been for like the last 5 minutes. You're telling me, but they're seeing the spider.
There's a spider on my face?
No.
The chat says there's spiders on my face and behind me, and I've been looking trying to find the spider, and there's no spiders.
I've barely shown your camera on the stream in the last 5 minutes, so.
Oh.
It's all good.
Oh.
That's actually probably one of the fun parts of streaming is to having the chat. I think that ability to get feedback.
The interaction with viewers is great. And that's another thing you don't
interaction.
Yeah. That's one thing you don't get with like YouTube videos. Like, I mean, you'll get the trolls and whatnot. Oh, your video sucks, blah 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 blah, and then you'll have the nice people like, good job. I agree with you and whatnot. But to have real time interaction with people, it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like you said, YouTube comments, you get the comments, but it's comments after the fact, right? You can't change it.
Right.
So it is what it is. When they say, "Oh, you should have done that," well, too late. But with this, at least, when you're playing, you can get input. We played War Z, and we asked people to suggest player names. That was a mistake, but it was funny anyways. We've had people asking us riddles while we were playing, and it's just it's fun. It's entertaining. It's like playing with more people that you're not actually playing with. I don't know. I enjoy it.
I don't know. I like to play this game on YouTube. Count how many comments before it gets homosexual, homophobic, racial, hateful, or bigotry. Like, how many comments do you go before somebody's just an asshat on YouTube? And live on Twitch,
it doesn't take very long.
You have the ability to be like, nope, boop, censorship. In my little part of the world, you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
It's
definitely good, and hopefully there'll be much more of this in the future, and hopefully Battlefield will continue to grow on Twitch, and there'll be more efforts from communities like Level, to bring, I guess, is really live entertainment related to the game that we enjoy playing, whether it's commentaries on actual contests happening, things like we're doing here, roundtable discussions, whatever. It's all good, and I always get annoyed when people put stuff down because they don't like it or something. It's like, oh, we don't want to see you talk about the game, we want to see you play. It's like, please, there's a bazillion places where you can watch gameplay, right? Let's do something that's unique. So. Okay, any questions from the chat? Anything not related to spiders or Slenderman sneaking up behind Tim? We should just take a quick look, but I don't think I see him. If you need to see Tim screaming, if there was a Slenderman behind him, just check the latest video that I posted just before. It's called The War Z, a montage of misery, I think is what I called it.
Sounds
There's
about
a lot
right.
of screaming.
There's a lot of screaming into streaming.
Screaming.
I want to talk a little bit about chat, and I caught a lot of flack about how I run my chat. If you guys don't know, like, I have a lot of mods, and one thing before I ask your opinions is that when I make somebody mod, it's kind of like a personal, internet call. We've all been around the internet for a long time, and we all know trolls when we see them. So that being said, can you do the other thing? Can you recognize a person when they're being a person? And when somebody comes into my channel and is a person, and they're really interacting on the internet, and then they follow me on Twitter, and then like I get their name and a picture and a link to their Facebook, like no longer is that user faceless and hiding behind their monitor. Now I can point to them somewhere else on the internet and say, hey, there you are. I see you. Why did you do that? And those type of people that get mod in my stream, so that when they come back, I know they're not an imposter. They're not trying to pretend to be Chalk One by having, 2 O's
don't
in
give
their
anyone
name.
any ideas, please.
Yeah. But, have you not had it where people come into your room, impersonating someone else?
I don't.
So that being said, like, what do you guys think about me making a ton of people mods and giving them the ability to time people out and ban people?
We have, and in fact, I got the viewer list open for the chat that we're in right now. There are 8 mods in here right now. So usually, in a lot of our streams, we have at least an equal amount of mods as we do viewers in the chat. And a lot of times, because the people that are in the chat are usually people that are regulars. They've been here before. We know who they are. We've talked to them, in other situations, whether it's on Twitter or whatever. They're people that we can trust to kick out somebody that's annoying or that's causing trouble or whatever, So we have the same kind of setup.
Luckily, we haven't actually run into any people who come in inflamed and trolled and whatnot. So we've actually been very fortunate.
Not in chat.
No, not in chat, and we've been very fortunate to have a good group of people that constantly come in and watch our streams. So very thankful for the people that we do have on a regular basis come and stop by.
Yep. We should probably wrap it up a little bit because I know it's getting close to dinner time in a couple places. But Tim looks really hungry after that whole spider thing. I think he needs to eat some food. But I want to thank you very much for coming on. And when do you tell people what your actual Twitch stream is? I guess they can find it if they're watching in the chat. But for those that are going to watch this on YouTube or iTunes later, where can people find your stuff online, Twitter, all that good stuff? Promote away.
Oh man, promote away. I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't have any of my links ready or anything like that. If you guys are in the chat right now, this is a pro tip for everybody that's using Twitch chat. Click on my name here. Click on this name. Click here. Click on my name. A little black box should pop up. And from that black box, you can do all kinds of interesting things. You can go to my channel. You can ignore me, and my comments will never come up again. You can try to time me out. You can try to ban me. All kinds of different things. But if you click on channel, it'll send you right to my channel page, and you can press a little purple button marked follow.
Tim.
For those of you that are a little bit too lazy, there's a link for you. Same name on Twitter, BFDM_Whitey. It's really all it right now. Facebook's not quite up and running. Family life and mortgage and everything has kind of took a turn for the worse. So I kind of had to lay off streaming, especially the Monday through Friday stuff, and now I'm only allowed to do big events and, you know, important things instead of just playing a video game.
Oh, there you go. Well, thank you for coming on and telling us a little bit about not only what you stream, but a little bit about Level as well, and sort of having a little chat with us about Aftermath, which is, I think, a really good DLC, and for those that haven't tried it yet, definitely should give it a try. I would think that for the few people that haven't bought previous DLCs and are just buying, you know, one at a time, they didn't get a premium membership, I think Aftermath is probably the one to get. If you're only going to buy one DLC, this would be the one, I think. So, having said that, Tim, we will be streaming some PC Battlefield 3 play probably in, I don't know,
like 2 hours
3
or
hours?
So. Yeah.
2 hours or so?
Yeah.
Around 10 o'clock Eastern, something like that. We'll shoot some stuff. I want to thank everybody for watching live, everybody in the chat. As always, you guys are all awesome guys and gals. And you can find this video and all of our other videos at youtube.com/battlefieldpodcast. You can find the podcast itself in audio version on iTunes. There have been Twitter handles all over the place, but basically there are 3 that you need to know: at BF Podcast, at Darkness429, and at Chalk_1. If you want to send messages to the douchebag that has at Chalk1 on Twitter and hasn't used it in 4 years, feel free. You have my blessing.
He's done like 2 tweets. That's it.
I know. I even helped you. I'm like, hey, give it to him, man. Come on. But he never checks it, so why would he give it to you? He's never going to check it anyway.
No, he isn't. But there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just screwed. I just wish I had that. I don't like underscores, so I don't need them. But so yeah. So we'll wrap it up for episode 142. And we'll be back probably. We'll probably do 1 or 2 more episodes before Christmas. I don't know. We'll have to talk about where people are going and what's going to happen with the holidays and all that stuff. But we will be back, and we will talk to you then.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.